Hello everyone, this is Mr. Underkoffler. Today we're looking at the guided notes called Intro to Percent, Finding the Percent. Okay, here's the big idea that the entire unit of percent is going to be based on. Percent is a ratio. That means out of 100. For example, if I take the decimal 0.061 and I look for the hundredths place value, that is the digit that will be to the left of the decimal point when I write it in percent form. Here's another example. 0.24 called 24 hundredths. 24 hundredths out of 100. That's 24%. So what I'm basically kind of doing here is taking the decimal point and moving it to the end of the hundredths place value on each of these examples. And why am I doing that? Because percent means out of 100. So that's why we're looking for this hundredths place value. Here's another example, 0.0785, which is actually called 785, let's see, not hundredths, thousands, 10,000. So 785 10,000s. But since I'm trying to turn it in percent form, I'm still moving that decimal point only to the end of the hundredths to make it 7.85%. So the digit that is in the hundredths will be the digit to the left of the decimal point, and everything to the right of the hundredths will be to the right of the decimal point when you write it in percent form. And then finally, 3.2 is the same as 3.20. So this is 3 and 20 hundredths, so that's 320%. Again, still moving the decimal point 2 places to the right. Okay, so I would like for you to fill out this table. On your page, it actually goes the whole way across, but I wanted to make it better for presenting on my screen, so I kind of split it up into 2 sections, even though it goes the whole way across on your page. I would like for you to fill out this table. And again, the idea of percent is being out of 100. Now, I threw a couple curveballs here. I actually gave you the percent form on some of these, and you have to turn it back into its original decimal form. So that's kind of going backwards from what I showed you on the examples there on the top right of your screen. All right, so why don't you hit pause and try to fill in the blank parts of this table going across on your page of guided notes, and then hit play once you're ready to see how you did. Okay, have you already hit pause and filled out this chart? If not, hit pause now. Okay, the very first one is 7/10, but we're looking for hundredths. So we would have to write another 0 there to then move it 2 places to the right to make it 70%. The next one, we have 19 thousandths, but where's the hundredths? The hundredths is right here with the 1. So the decimal point in percent form will be right after that 1, and then everything to the right of it will be to the right of the decimal point in percent form. Now, this next one, 24.6 repeating percent, we need to turn it back into its original decimal form. So instead of taking the decimal point and moving it 2 places to the right to go from decimal form to percent form, it's the other way around. So we're moving it 2 places to the left. So 0.24, the 6 is still repeating in its original decimal form. All right, next up, we're also going back to the original decimal form. 8% is not 0.8 because percent means out of 100. So it's 8 hundredths. It needs to be 0.08. Again, if you're trying to make the decimal point go 2 places to the right, it would have been at the end here, and then you would move it 2 places to the right to get 8 hundredths. If you messed up on any of these, feel free to quickly hit pause and fix what you have to fix. And then finally, we're going back from the original decimal form into percent form like we did in these first 2 problems. So move that decimal point 2 places to the right, and that's going to put it as 110%. Okay, the main purpose of this page of guided notes, and it's just a single page, it's pretty short, is to make sure you know how to calculate the percent from any type of problem. And the way that you're going to do that is you're going to have to figure out what is the whole amount, which is also known as the total amount, and then what is the part of that whole or total amount. The part is always out of the whole. It's always out of the total. And that will lead us to dividing in the correct order. Step 2, divide the part by the whole amount. Now, when you do that, you will get a decimal. Usually it's going to be 0 point something. We'll talk about how it could maybe be 1 point something or 2 point something. Spoiler alert, that's if it's going to be over 100%, but most of the time that's not going to be the case, so you're probably going to get 0 point something each of these times. And then, like we just practiced earlier on, we're going to move the decimal point 2 places to the right to put it into percent form. And so I have this written in a box for you. Part divided by the whole. We're going to divide, even though I wrote this as a fraction. That's going to give us a decimal. We'll move it 2 places to the right to get the percent form. And yes, the only way the percent can be more than 100% is if the part is greater than the whole. That doesn't happen in a lot of scenarios. Well, it will later on in this unit, more so than what you realize, but right now, probably not going to happen a lot, but you never know. Let's take a look at number 1 and number 2 together. I'll lead you through these, and then you'll do 3 and 4 on your own. Number 1, the assignment was worth a total of 24 points. Kira earned 19.5 points. What percent did she get on the assignment? All right, so we got to think, what is out of what? What Kira earned is just part of the total number of points. And the total is the same idea as the whole amount. So that's the 24 points. Go ahead and fill in those blanks. Once we know the correct order, who's the part, who's the total or whole amount, then we can make sure we divide in the correct order in our calculator. So make sure you're doing this. Write this down. Get out your calculator if you haven't already. We're going to take the part, 19.5, and divide by 24. Go ahead and do that if you haven't already. That should give you in your calculator 0.8125. Now, if you got 1 point something, then you were dividing in the wrong order. It's always important. What's on top is what you type in first, then division, then what's on bottom, the total or whole amount, that will come afterwards. That should give you 0.8125. We're going to take that decimal point, just like we were practicing above, and move it to the hundredths, because percent means out of 100. So move it 2 places to the right, so it's at the hundredths place value now, and that's going to make it 81.25%. So the hundredths digit will go right here to the left of the decimal point in percent form, and then all the digits to the right of that, the thousandths, the 10,000ths, that will go to the right of the decimal point in percent form. All right, problem number 2. Let's do this one together as well. Then you'll eventually do 3 and 4 on your own. While practicing free throws, we're talking basketball here, Aaliyah made 56 out of 60 attempts. What percent did she make? Okay, so the 60 is definitely the whole amount. That's the total that she attempted. Attempted is another word for tried. And then 56 is the part that she made. So very specific here. We got the part she made. We have the total whole amount of attempts that she made. 56 is out of 60. So that's the order we're going to write down as a fraction, although we're going to really divide in our calculator. So 56 you'll type in first, then divided by 60. What does that equal? Go ahead and type it into your calculator if you haven't already. That's going to give you, a repeating decimal. Not a big deal. You can have repeating decimals in percents. We saw it on the chart going across near the top of the page. We actually had an example of that. So we're still going to move the decimal point 2 places to the right. And yes, the 3 was repeating, but I'm not going to write the repeating bar right away because I didn't have percent form right away. I just had a decimal form. So don't put the repeating bar too early. Just put like ... like I did. And then move it 2 places to the right. And now put the repeating bar. And you can't put the repeating bar on the 3 here in 93. You can't. You can't have a repeating whole number. It's impossible. So it's the decimal section of the percent where you then consider putting the repeating bar if you have a repeating decimal. Okay. I would like for you to hit pause in the video and try 3 and 4 on your own, and then hit play once you're ready to see how you did. Okay, have you already done number 3 and number 4? If not, you better hit pause now. Do these last 2 problems on your own, because here I go. What is out of what? Well, the 745 is just part of the seats that are filled out of all of the seats that are in the auditorium. So this is the order we should be dividing in. 745 divided by 820. That's going to give you a very ugly looking decimal. It goes on forever. The directions say round your answer to the nearest tenth of a percent. Let me ask you, is this right now in percent form? No, not yet. We have to move the decimal point 2 places to the right. So it would be wrong to make this 0.9 rounding to the nearest tenth early and then saying 90%. That would be wrong. If you did that, I'm going to need you to hit pause and fix your answer. So here's what I'm talking about. You move the decimal point 2 places to the right. Then you round to the nearest tenth of a percent. We're talking rounding the percent to the nearest tenth, not the original decimal to the nearest tenth, the percent to the nearest tenth. Since the 5 is 5 or more, that's going to round up the 8 to 90.9%. Problem number 4. Experts are projecting total sales to be 40,000. However, the actual sales were 57,000. Now, check this out. What percent of the projected sales were the actual sales? So this is letting you know the original total is what you're trying to find the percent from. And so this is one of those rare examples where it should end up being over 100%. Because think about it. They thought it was going to be 40% or $40,000, but it actually ended up being more than that. 40,000 is 100% of itself, but this ended up going more than that. So yes, the part is more than the original total, the original whole amount they projected. So that's why you're actually going to get 1 point something, which makes this become 142.5%. Yes, that one was a little bit tricky. Yes, I know. Please hit pause and fix it if you need to. But I wanted to give you at least one example to show you sometimes you can have percentages over 100%. And there are many examples in money that we will look into later into this unit. But for now, thank you for watching this video. We'll see you next time.